Shut up and sit down.
A Rose for Emily essay. Essay on A Rose for Emily for students and children in English. The story A Rose for Emily says Emily is a very obstinate lady who lives her life in her way and finds her way to deal with situations. Emily refuses to pay the taxes and she doesn't care about the restrictions of society. The townspeople inhabitants felt sorry for her after the death of her father. They were eager to know about her way of living and they kept to pay careful attention to Emily. She poisoned Homer Baron when he rejects her marriage proposal and keeps his body with her. This is against the rules of society, but she used to live her life as she wants. Emily faces some sort of problems to deal with matters of life. Emily has been left cloistered all her life and she has certain characteristics that make her take vengeance. She is obstinate in her language and activities as shown in her actions. It is because of these obstinateness that Emily ends up murdering Homer Baron. William Faulkner's stories have isolation as a theme. An example of a character in barn burning who was staying in isolation from other children of the town is Satyrs. The same thing is replicated in the case of Emily, who has been staying in isolation because she was never permitted to communicate with the people staying in the town. The isolation that they were staying in changed both the characters. The story is influenced by the southwestern regions. A Rose for Emily is a story pivot around the past. Emily is always cloistered by other people. Even after her father's death, she didn't communicate much with the people of the town. She reprobated all the ideas of the modern world and stayed by her own will. It is clearly shown in the story that Emily is against modern techniques when she was against having a mailbox outside her residence. Emily's father is responsible for the obstinateness found in Emily. The acumen brought to her by her father impaired her whole life. But the spunk shown by Emily in the story can be highly addressed as she showed courage to cope with the oppression brought to her by life. William Faulkner uses the theme of compromise in several of his stories with different conditions. Many characters in the story are trying to compromise with the conditions and some have succeeded while some have not. However, Emily isn't able to compromise with her refusal from Homer, because of which she decides to murder him. A Rose for Emily may somewhat be meant to show how uncompromising nature creates difficult situations in life. The uncompromising habits lead to greater distresses like that of Emily, who lives with her dead soul all over her life. Isolation and compromise are the common themes of Faulkner's stories which help one to understand the characters well. The story depicts that Emily faced many problems throughout her life.